Good morning, everybody. We're going to start with a nice tune from Brazil because it's raining in Baltimore, so we need a little bit of sunshine from the music. Eu quis amar, mas tive medo e quis salvar meu coração, mas um amor da sabe o segredo. O medo pode matar o seu coração. Água de beber, camará. Água de beber, camará. Dianda, banderore, dianda, banderore, dianda, pianai, pianai. Eu quis amar, mas tive medo. E quis salvar meu coração, mas um amor sabia um segredo. O medo pode matar o seu coração. Água de beber, camará. Água de beber, camará. Seruyamtei, babnderuremnebeyamupapamtei. Parirarumbobay, bobobay, sururarei. Paperurambopay, parirubabnuruptenbobabtiye. Sepirarutabubabobayerurambobabtiye. Sayurupayudirandirirandirandiriambobabtei. Sububabnupay, suterei. Paureubababayeretiambopay. Babnuteyarundiambay. Shatutapayarundudutay. Babtiyapayarundutay. Pianda, banderorareyunlianda, banderorareyunlianda. Piarai, piarai. E quis amar, mas tive medo. E quis salvar meu coração, mas um amor sabia um segredo. O medo pode matar o seu coração. Água de beber, camará. Água de beber, camará. Água de beber, camará. Água de beber, camará.
Thank you, Irene. Good morning. I'm Sharon Parrish. I'll be your platform assistant for today. What a wonderful service it will be. Today we have Rev Carole Frampton, and her message is the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. And of course, you just finished hearing our musician, Irene Jalenti. Now I'm going to say the centering prayer. It's the prayer of peace by Reverend Dale Worley. I am a peaceful presence in the world. I pause right now, wherever I am, to take a deep breath, close my eyes, and attune myself to the spirit of peace. I am aware of a calm and serene presence that wraps around me, quiets my thoughts, and stills my feelings. My heart is filled with appreciation as I realize that peace is active and at work in my life and the lives of all others. As I experience peace and serenity in those precious moments, I radiate peace outward into the world. I see every person and situation filled with divine love and peace, and I affirm harmony and right relations for all. I know this is the truth that sets us free, and I am truly grateful. Wherever I am, peace is. I am a peaceful presence in the world. Now we have special music by Irene Jalenti.
Sometimes in our life, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow for. No one can fill those of your needs that you don't let show. So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I might just have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry on, I'm right here for you, and I'll share your load. If you just call me, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on, lean on, lean on. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
Well, good morning, everyone. And it is a great joy to see you all again. I have chosen to limit screen time to a minimum during weekends, given that I spend the whole week on Zoom calls. So thank you for not holding it against me and checking in regularly, Jan and Kaywood, and inviting me back today. I chose this date because it's my birthday. Last year, I turned 50, a momentous milestone, and it feels right to complete the cycle in this way. So I'm grateful for this opportunity. I thought that, after having taken a break, that this next talk would be on death, a topic that one would be wise to no longer avoid looking at when reaching the half-century point, but also because welcoming death, learning from it, has been a central theme of my life lately. I spent 3 years accompanying my father as he faced a crippling terminal disease, and then chose to leave a little early on his terms, as the Swiss laws allow. And then the last 3 years being the main caretaker for my mother, as she descended into the worst kind of dementia. She's still alive, but I am now a kind stranger to her. But much has been said already on this topic. I'm not sure I can add something of value, especially as it is a journey that ultimately we must take alone and draw our own lessons from. In the end, my own learning was not about death. My main takeaway from these 2 dying processes has been a renewed, enormous appetite for life. Watching my parents has inspired me to a much more radical commitment to have my life not be lived from fear, but to have it rather be an ever-expanding journey filled with joys and delights and the willingness to take risks to have it so. That is really what I would like to invite you to. You have already said yes to a life of spiritual growth, or you wouldn't be part of this community. And there is much more to choose, so much more, and it is now an urgent call. And then came a book that captured many of my intuitions, my thoughts, but all unpacked and explained in the most compelling of ways. And so if something has been said already in a much clearer and more intelligent way than you could ever propose, then it's great news, which is why this is really a book review. Its title you know already, The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible. It jumped at me when I was given it to read by my friend Viva. And so did the cover, as we have chosen the exact same painting as wallpaper in our new bedroom. This book felt like an answer, a blessing, the opening of the door for this next second half of my life. And now I feel compelled to tell the whole fucking world about it, as one reviewer puts it. The author, Charles Eisenstein, describes himself as a cultural investigative journalist. Not an expert, not a guru, just a fellow traveler that is interested in understanding the core story that gives meaning to our modern society and change it to one that serves us better and prevents us from collectively running off the cliff of mass extinction. He describes our current narrative as one of separation. This will not come as news to you, Church of Unity, so I won't spend much time on a diagnostic nor the description, how judgment, the need to label, order, rank, define, keeps us constrained in a limited, somewhat joyless universe. His vision for a different world is not one of unity per se, a word that is actually, to me, a bit too close to the word uniformity for comfort, even if that is not intended by this church. He calls it the age of interbeing, where we fully embrace both our unique individuality and our shared humanity. Where being you, who you truly are, unlocking your full potential, is your only duty and your greatest gift to the world. Where we know that what happens to one of us happens to all of us, that a crime committed by one is to be owned by us all, and that by the same stroke, the healing of one heals all others and the planet. Only when we will have let go of the story of separation will we be able to take the required steps, which are already well known to us, that will have us achieve sustainable, harmonious living. Being comes before doing. Being comes before doing. And so all our increasingly frantic efforts in doing won't get us anywhere if we do not shift our being first. Being determines doing. Worse than that, when operating from separation, our actions become a distraction. They make us feel good about ourselves. They feed our ego, or even our wishful thinking. And by doing so, they delay us. The real work that is ours to do is to heal the wounds that have us had believe in the story of separation in the first place. Actively so. What is required is a relentless addressing of anything within us that had us not feel whole, so that the earth can become whole again. This is actually much harder than switching your car for a bicycle. This means walking towards your own pain, dismantling every mental construct you have used to shield you from the experiences of judgment or exclusion, whether the perpetrator was yourself or others. We normally think of this therapeutic path as a private matter concerning ourselves and our immediate family only. That is not the case. From our healing depends our planet's own healing and, frankly, our collective survival. Such work, when done beyond the bare minimum that has us just be more comfortable in our own self-made jails, is so demanding we cannot do it alone. We need support of professionals, of friends, that will not buy our excuses, but rather push us through to the other side. We will need a profound cleansing from having been immersed in the story of separations for decades, for centuries, for millions of lifetimes, really. That is this book's invitation. And like the one we received 2,000 years ago from a man willing to die on the cross to be free, it won't be a picnic in the park. We have been so ingenious in finding ways of saying no while pretending to say yes, of reinterpreting his message in ways that kept us safe, that didn't rock our world too much. And now nature is no longer sending us wake-up calls. It is telling us in no uncertain terms that we can't keep operating the way we are today. A change is required. Not forced change, not anger or outraged or fear-based actions that feed our righteousness and pit us against one another. Collective healing, from which joyful shifts naturally emerge. And while it is easy to call it naive, we know that culture changes must be led by pioneers till the tipping point is reached. We also know our current leaders have mostly failed us so far, and that change will not come from the top. There's no one way of doing this work. Indigenous wisdom may guide you. Rigorous therapy may support you. Rituals or even psychedelic substances may be of help. But it all starts with an intention, a choice to go down to the depth of our being, face what most scares us, and heal our fractured self. And while I may sound solemn right now, it is a joyful process. It is never completed and has plenty of uncomfortable moments. Yet it gets easier. One gets more resilient as each step brings more freedom. What is at stake and what there is to gain becomes clearer as we train ourselves in consciousness. Eventually, it does become a picnic in the park, a chaotic, messy, extraordinary celebration of life. And so that is what I want to focus on what lies on the other side. The author, Mr. Eisenstein, doesn't claim to have arrived there yet. It's an ever-deepening process, and for now, more of a difficult to navigate back and forth between two worlds, two narratives. And we all know that difficult back and forth. What I'm hoping to share today, as he does, is just a glimpse of what is possible when living from the story of interbeing, in the hope also that by sharing it, it lives that much stronger within me. Eisenstein describes this new narrative as one that frees us and has us enter into true communion with one another and the earth. And from that place, energies flow unperturbed to create miracles. This group believes in miracles. You all have committed to transcending the story of separation. What he describes is familiar to you. And yet, what would it take for us to have access to it at all times, on all issues, and to have our society be grounded in a narrative of interdependence? Function from it. Here's what he says from this age of interbeing. When one is aligned with purpose of service, acts that seem exceptionally courageous to others are a matter of course. When one experiences the world as abandoned, then acts of generosity are normal, since there is no doubt about continued supply. When one sees other people as reflections of oneself, forgiveness becomes second nature as one realizes, but for the grace of God, so go I. When one appreciates the order, beauty, mystery, and connectedness of the universe, a deep joy and cheerfulness arises that nothing can shake. When one lets go of the story of the discrete and separate self, amazing intuitive and perceptual capabilities emerge from lifelong latency. Now, for these statements to come true for us all, we have to detach from the invented truth that we've grown up in. The gift of my mother's dementia is that those messages, so often insidious and hidden, came through loud and clear, all filters off. Seek safety, especially emotional safety, above everything else. Follow the rules. Find your place within the existing structures and reference points. Life is a struggle. You are the effect of the external circumstances that must be overcome with great difficulty. If something is too easy, you don't deserve it. If you fail, you are a failure or a victim. Life is serious. Be responsible. Pursuing pleasure is a sin. And finally, the constant leitmotif, there is not enough. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough of you to share with everyone. In my view, these beliefs led her directly to her dementia. I can now see it from a place of compassion. Who wouldn't be driven insane by such thinking? From my father, I learned the art of impatience, the drive to be efficient and achieve great things. I grew up in a world that he dominated through knowledge and the careful labeling and ordering of ideas and people. He did it with great wisdom and benevolence, yet with a profound commitment to a binary world where he, and therefore I, should be on the side of the winners. As I moved away from a family environment where I struggled to breathe, I still find myself immersed in a culture where all is defined by belonging and exclusion. You are one of us, not one of them. You cannot be too free, too different, because you would then threaten our acceptance of the limitations of our cultural story imposes on us. Or, I love you and therefore I own you. You are to meet my needs, to help me conform to my idea of how I should live rather than give me the courage to make new choices. These messages of separation and limitations, we replicate them. We impose them onto others too. We perpetrate them in the next onto the next generation. We make them our own, and yet they are not. We are infinite beings. We go way beyond any set identity or definition. We are meant to be constantly co-creating ourselves, dancing with the world in communion with all that is around us. We are not our made-up definitions of ourselves, and we do not live in a linear, predictable, deterministic world, as quantum physics has been telling us for a while. So let us go into meditation and let us embrace that a more beautiful world is possible. And let us let go of those messages of separation that have made us lose full and easy access to it. And so I invite you to close your eyes if you choose to, or just sit back comfortably in your chair and take a very deep breath. And with every breath, you sense the energy of the earth underneath your feet, all around you. And you sense the energy of all the people in this community also connected to you. And so as you take these breaths that ground you, that connect you, let us go back to the description of this interbeing narrative. When one is aligned with purpose of service, acts that seem exceptionally courageous to others are a matter of course. When one is aligned with purpose of service, acts that seem exceptionally courageous to others are a matter of course. What were you told about taking risks? What were you aware of as a child that got shut down? Now is a time to go back to experiencing the universe as you and you as one, trusting it will always have your back, no matter what the external circumstances may look like. When one experiences the world as abundant, then acts of generosity are normal, since there's no doubt about continued supply. When one experiences the world as abundant, then acts of generosity are normal, since there is no doubt about continued supply. How is a story of lack communicated to you? What was scarce in your family? What do you see scarce today? Now is the time to choose differently. When one sees other people as reflections of oneself, forgiveness becomes second nature, as one realizes, but for the grace of God, so go I. When one sees other people as reflections of oneself, forgiveness becomes second nature, as one realizes, but for the grace of God, so go I. What identities were made relevant in your family? How were you taught to judge? Now is the time to unlearn it. When one appreciates the order, beauty, mystery, and connectedness of the universe, a deep joy and cheerfulness arises that nothing can shake. When one appreciates the order, beauty, mystery, and connectedness of the universe, a deep joy and cheerfulness arises that nothing can shake. When did you lose your sense of wonder, your childish sense of joy and possibilities? Now is the time to reclaim it. When one lets go of the story of the discrete and separate self, amazing intuitive and perceptual capabilities emerge from lifelong latency. When one lets go of the story of the discrete and separate self, amazing intuitive and perceptual capabilities emerge from lifelong latency. What were you made wrong for? How did you make yourself small for being different and therefore not belonging? Now is the time to let it go and belong. We all play our unique part in the miraculous universe. We are all miracle workers if we just give ourselves permission to be all of who we are. As our beloved Andy would say, and I feel both his presence and his absence acutely today, we are the light of the world. Let us be that. Let us choose and live that as our core story. Thank you, dear friends.
Des yeux qui font baiser la mienne, un rire qui se perd sous sa bouche. Voilà les portraits sans retouche de l'homme à qui j'appartiens. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, le jouerai pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat. Il m'est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, le jouerai pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat. Thank you.
Now I will be doing the closing, saying the closing prayer. Prayer of strength. Today we take a moment to pause, a moment to sit, and a moment to bask in gratitude for our inner power of strength. That strength connects us to God within. That strength sustains us and provides the gentle nudge that says, yes, you can. We move more deeply into this moment of prayer as we affirm our strength radiating out to all other beings, calling forth the divine strength in them too. We breathe in this moment of oneness with God within, this wonderful, beautiful essence of God that we are. Today, I affirm that I am strength. Amen.
We are so blessed here at Unity Center DC for extraordinary speakers, talented musicians who share with us each week their God gift, their message, their inspiration. And for us as recipients, I'd like you to take this moment and be grateful. If you want to express your gratitude, By giving a gift to Unity Center DC, it's possible we'll put up on the screen the options, but you can give online, you can mail a cash or a check to the address you'll see on the screen, so that we can continue this ministry, which has blessed us all. Thank you.